Okay, we're going to take a look at the Florida State defense against Alabama. This is, of course, the Unconquered with Doc Staples film session after the Alabama Florida State game. Florida State bullies Alabama. We're going to go ahead and get to it, so let's go ahead and pull it up. And here we go. Okay. So, and I would have done this a little bit earlier, but I'm still working on getting the studio set up just right. So be patient with me as making some improvements to our operations here. But let's go ahead and get to it. So first play here on the defensive side, and you'll note a couple things here. First of all, a lot of communication. They do a great job on the back end. There's a whole lot of talking before the play, which is what you would want. Other thing that you're seeing here is Florida State in a true 3-3, and they are stacking this. This is not a mint or tight where you have both in the same, spot over the guards or anything like that. But they are going with Jackson here as the zero technique, which they did a lot of. And the thing is that is a very, very thankless job. That's going to lead to lower numbers, but his influence in this game was enormous. So looking at this here, this first play, and this first drive is really where they got all of their stuff. And you can see initially getting some push there. Look at the back end view in just a second here. Enormous offensive line for Alabama here. And we won't look through every play, but we'll look through quite a few. So standard 3-3 stack type thing here. You're going to get the zero technique here, and the way that this is working is he's going to be coming off of that. This is his primary gap, and he's going to try to work that gap from there. Once you see the combo here, he's going to try to fill here, which is where this is going. And you have the double up to the backer here as the backer's filling here. So you should get that. And this is actually really good from Bama. I mean, you're able to get the double here up to the backer, and he gets his hands on the backer enough right there to affect him. And then there's so much movement with the combo here that he takes him right into the backer, and that's why that doesn't really go anywhere. And so you end up, this backer ends up getting reached here, and then he's back in his lap. That's Williams getting overpowered by Pritchard. No surprise there. It's actually decent from Cryer. And then nice solid contact there from Little. Now, one of the distinctives I want to highlight here, and this is the role of the rover in this defense, as this middle safety, and this is very much the Caleb Downs role from Ohio State last year. You see a lot of this from John Heacock type defenses as well, that like this 5 DB with 3 safeties kind of look. He actually is the secondary run fit here. So he's coming downhill. These guys are actually going to have deeper coverage responsibilities. He's basically a fourth backer in this. So he's coming up from deep with momentum. And the thing is, you want him to be a hitter. All right, so this next one, Alabama's in a tray formation, and then you get that motion there, and the whole thing is basically working to make sure that they don't get pressed here, and then they're going to get this one-on-one. And you see the big 10-yard cushion there. And that's just really easy on the play action here. Get the little block out here on Lions there, and then work your way to that. Now, this is where, Alabama is not the same team, largely because at quarterback, Simpson is just not good enough, honestly. And you can see right here, there is a lot of space here. And if he just drives his feet forward a little bit and puts this on target, he should be able to keep his balance. And he's in position. If this is on target, he's in position to, potentially hit this, get another 10 yards or so, 5 yards at least. See, Florida State's just not in very good position here. You got Williams here also. You could potentially drop this ahead of Williams here on this. Now, your first read's right here, so he's wide open, so you take it. But that's low and prevents any sort of run after the catch. That's just not. There's a lot of yards that were left on the field in this game because of Simpson not being able to essentially make accurate enough throws. I mean, that's a completion, but for me, that's a minus for the quarterback because of that. All right, so once again, doing something a little different formationally, stacking your receivers. You see they're matching this with the inside-out look here. And here they do go with the 3 inside, and you're going to 5-man on the line of scrimmage bit. And now you've got essentially you've got a 4-man defensive line here on 1st and 10. So here you see Jason Jenkins, you see James Williams there. Williams playing a little high here for my taste on that front side. And this is a pretty good combo. We'll flip this to the back here. It's a pretty good combo here on Lions. It's pretty big gap there. And this is really where you want your stud to compress this and make it so they can't run this anymore. But this is just, they're able to kind of wash your front side defensive tackle, and the backside gets one-on-one there. Now, here's where you're seeing the scheme. Look how quickly your safety triggers. And this is something that you're going to see all year. As long as Little is healthy, as long as he doesn't knock himself out, you're going to see a lot of this. And this is sort of the eraser in this kind of scheme. If you've got a dude here at your rover spot, what you can do is use him as the +1 in the run game. And when it's not a run, he's actually a good coverage player. But because he gets up the field so quickly, this is a big deal right here. I'm going to go ahead and hide myself here. You can see they're behind that. You can see they're working their way behind him. So there's your +1. And this is what starts to, ultimately, this is what starts to erase the Bama run game. They're winning here. And then because of that fill, this is, at worst, or at best, a neutral for Bama because of Little coming in like that. So now you've got a little bunch here on the front side, or on the into the boundary. They went fib. They went formation into the boundary a good bit on this opening drive and did it a decent amount the rest of the game. But Florida State did a good job of adjusting formationally to get what they wanted there. The thing I'm surprised they didn't do is more fib with Ryan Williams out here as the single. They used Jeremy Bernard more as the guy out there, which was a little surprising to me. Williams has the point here. I don't think that works quite as well for them. But what they're trying to do here is get this in that one-on-one, get cleared out to make that easy for Williams. But the thing you got to give credit for here is look at Barker and notice what they do in terms of against that. A lot of teams, you're going to wind up with your safety here and your corner here. What White does is he inverts that, which I think is smart, because now your more physical player has actually got more run support, and he's more in the flat support area. And you watch as they rotate. Now you've got your corner, who's your faster coverage player, who's deep here. And then underneath, you've got your bigger, more physical player for run support. And then he's big enough and tall enough, and has enough length to essentially take this away. But this is what they wanted right here. And I would say this is there initially, like as he sets up. If he throws this into this spot and sort of splits these two guys and throws this into here, Williams is actually a little bit late on his break, which is part of why he pulls it. So now he pulls it and he takes off running. That's actually fine, but Williams is a little bit late in there. That should have been open. Good athletic play there. Now this is what I would call a hold on this side. That is a takedown. And that's got to get called. Now this is where he needs to do a better job of appealing for that, instead of just getting up and taking the penalty. So once again here, you're in a 5-man front, 6th man here. This is deceptive, though, because you have essentially a 7th guy that's going to come from deep, that's going to give you a +1. One of these two in this look is going to be your +1 here. So you're going to determine that based on several different things. Based on what I would expect, it would be this, and you'd rotate here, but they'll do a lot of different things. Rotate back and come here. Yep, so he's got your deep roll, and he's going to be driving on the underneath route while he's, again, playing over the top. So this is a 3 deep, and you're driving on the outside. He's your hole player. And in this case, it's basically a fire zone because you're using the blitzer here. Get a little game up front. And, there's just not a whole lot that's going to be here for the run because of how you're gaming that. While this is okay. Now, passing-wise, these guys have to communicate this better. If you're going to press this and carry this vertical, if he's going to be actually play over the top on the if he's actually going to play over the top on the cover 3, you've got to communicate this better, and he's got to recognize the rub and come off of that. This is not good enough. This is an easy conversion here, and you can't have this. And this is where the biggest room for improvement is coming out of week 2 defensively for me, is this sort of thing. They've got a long way to go there. Because this could have turned into a big play, but because of the penalty, there's nothing. That's something that they could have done a lot better all game. So now it's a long yardage situation, and now you're getting your outside rushers, and now they're going to play coverage. They're going to force you to beat him there. And Bama did this all game with the chip, because this offensive tackle, this right tackle, you have people talking about this being the number 1 offensive line in the country, top 5 at least, and that guy can't pass protect. That's a duck right there. He's just not good enough. And so they were helping him all game recognize the flaws there. That pretty good run there, actually, from Simpson. You give him credit. He actually broke a lot of tackles and did some things with his feet in the running game. He should have run for first down. We'll see it later. But now you got your 4th and 1. It's the right call to go. Now, thing is, if they'd triggered better on this from here, they might have been able to stop this. He just kind of missed his spot just a little. But it's possible, if they'd triggered and gotten in there, it's possible that they'd have gotten him. That second effort ultimately did get it. But up front, this is a win for FSU. And, you see Cryer get in here and get up underneath. They cause problems. And you see one of the things that they've done a really good job of already even here is you see them unselfishly getting their pad level low and just causing a wall to be built where the back just doesn't have natural seams. I mean, that's good defense. And then, if they just had someone else there a little earlier to clean that up, then this is a stop. But that's very good defense on fourth down. Just got a zone here. It's a good run right there. Little high from Daryl Jackson there, but he's getting a double team. This was probably his worst play of the game. Gets sort of put on skates and taken out of there. Didn't do that much this game. Rest of the game he played with much better pad level, but this was the one real minus for him on the day. That's a good combo right here. Up to the backer, climbing here, and then they take him right into the lap of the backer there, and so this turns into a nice play. There's just not much there defensively to be excited about, but they really started to strap up after that. And you can see that here. Take a look at the response after that loss on the last play here. That's just raw power right there. Just overpowers Dewberry. And then right here from McCray, they try to single him with a tight end, and he does what he's supposed to do. Whips him inside, and there's nothing there. But that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. And that's a win. So that's 4 wins across the line of scrimmage there on that play. They're starting to feel themselves a little bit there. And here they're really close. Good double here, but it eats the double well. Got a trigger. It's closing down on this. There's actually a cutback lane here, but this is what you're going to expect to meet it. It's okay. This is good physical football from both sides here. Really close there. You're going to give those up on occasion. Yeah, no, that one you've got a little bit of you're out-gapped here a little bit. So let's see. So you got your double, wins leverage. So now you've got to get this. And they're working here to get to that. And that means you've got to get, he's got to win. He's got to refuse to let this work its way up to the backer, or the backer has to get through before. But because of this and this, there ends up being that somebody's wrong here in terms of their gap, it looks like to me. So let's see, you got here. He should be here. He should be here and here, I think. But Proctor does a really good job of getting inside on Jackson. And maybe sometimes he's going to be the primary there. But I think somebody got beat to their spot there. Again, good by Bama's offensive line. This is where they're highly regarded for a reason. Once again, straight down Broad Street, but here's where you're starting to see 20 get in there. That's a good job of coming off that initial. I'll tell you what, McCray is really flashing here from the outside. Anytime they're trying to block him with the tight end, that's just not happening. He almost gets the play in the backfield, and then he comes off. You get 20, comes off the tackle to get inside. That's not bad. And this was very nearly a pick. And once again, they're trying to get this play action to create this seam and work their way into this seam. Looks like this is actually supposed to be a high corner, maybe. But that's what it is. Okay, so you got, it's basically a flood. You got that in the high corner. And because he plays outside the whole way, he forces this to be a back shoulder. It's actually a good throw. But that's good coverage by Rawls. And by Little, as it is. Gets a hand on it, knocks it away. Good coverage there. Actually, I didn't check underneath here. It's a much better job of matching. And you see him dropping here, working underneath to the flat. Where this should have gone from the quarterback is right here. He missed this. So because he sees Joseph coming inside here, so he should be working from this. As soon as he's playing here, yeah, you can throw that back shoulder, but what you should be doing is coming across to your dig. And this scores if he throws the dig right there. He should be putting this right about here and driving that ball. There are throws to be made here, and that's the concerning thing for me moving forward. If Bama had a quality quarterback here, I think this is a very different football game. Good run there. And this is just a matter of getting beat inside there. Or getting knocked inside. Better job there. And here you just have an elite receiver working against a guy he's quicker than. Right here, he's not going to handle that. But this play, I think this play changed the game. Williams is very, very quick, but watch this contact right here. This is Barker, and he just near leg right there, near leg, near shoulder, and that contact, it doesn't look like much, but that contact, I think, changed Ryan Williams' view on this game, along with one that comes a little later. But Barker, that contact, I think made Williams sort of see ghosts the rest of the way. That was a big play. It was a good play here. And once again, your +1 in this defense is just always going to be this guy. So what are they doing? Here, 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 and he's just your floating +1. And he's going to go to the football, seek and destroy, bang. And he's in man coverage against this guy as well. And boy, does he hit that. He's well suited for that role. He's going to make himself some money this year. He's got the slip here. And really, this just boils down to he's got to be further outside here. He's got to be on the outside shoulder, and then he's got to be getting to the quarterback from the inside. But this would have scored either way. So, even if he doesn't throw it, he can just run it in. They're just selling too hard on the front side. So you should have inside out against the quarterback there. Yeah, so these two guys basically have to be in better position. That's pretty good, though. I mean, all in all, they made him earn it. And from here forward, this is what you start to see. First of all, Florida State, 6 guys in the box here. Your 7th is right here. And see how that's a no before you go, but now he's your extra run support. But the key here, they're starting from this point. He's going to take this. They're starting to get this. Double team here. He eats it. Trigger quick. Get into the backfield. Bang. First down win. And with a front side run here, he's there too. So he's here. You know, he could potentially work up, but there's nowhere to go. That's really good. All right. So you got a fire zone here. This is an interference. Yeah, could have called holding easily there. And then Barker, this is not the matchup ideally that you want. And this is what, as they get further into the schedule, you're going to get teams that are going to try to go after this matchup. They're going to try to get Barker in one-on-ones, especially with your faster receivers. This is what I expect Miami to try to do. They'll try to get their best and fastest receiver into this situation where he's point, and then get him in a one-on-one where they're going to make Barker have to chase him. Barker run. And again, with a better quarterback here and with no pressure, you put this all the way out here. But instead, he doesn't have the arm to do it, so this ends up being a good play by the receiver to keep it in bounds. But this pressure helps force it, and again, just doesn't have the arm. Limitations at quarterback are a real problem for Alabama. I mean, he just doesn't have the arm. I mean, that's got to go out here. He's beat. So this is one on the screen. He should be forcing this inside. This should be, you got to make sure that you keep your right arm free and force him inside, and then you're going to get your support from here and here. But they're short a player essentially in how they're defending this. But they're depending so much of what White does is it's going to be short initially, but he wants his guys to be able to win moving forward and playing with force downhill. And you see that here. Get downhill, get to it, and even though they're short a guy initially, this is only a 5-yard gain. You can live with that. Especially with Ryan Williams being that guy. And again, they're starting to figure out what Bama's doing here. They've gone to a 4-man surface up front with a 5th walked up, and they're mugging here. So they're matching numbers, and then you've got your +1 from back here somewhere. It's going to be Joseph based on posture. They're both actually +1s here. So they're playing very aggressively in the secondary. So working his way across, eating the double, they're basically trying to get it to where he can't get to a backer, get upfield into those by triggering quickly. stuff just closes down quickly. Now, I think the back kind of misses his lane here initially, but part of that is the backside here is so good. Now, in the future, what you're going to see teams do is a gamble from Florida State. That naked ends up being wide open here. And they're going to have to play against teams with more willingness to naked that. Let's take a look at what that could be on the backside from this view. There's just no respect for the run here on this side. I mean, that right there, there's nobody looking at him. So if you think about this being Milrow or somebody like that, this is the difference that Bama has right now. Again, this is where they've got to communicate, and either they're gonna handle this by him shooting over top or underneath this rub, or he's gonna have to banjo it. But they've got to be in better shape to be able to do that. You cannot just give up that kind of space in third and 5. They do this against Miami, they'll get picked apart. Miami of Florida. It's way too easy. And once again, very, very soft coverage here. They're willing to just give this stuff up right now. And they want to just come up and hit against teams that are a little better execution-wise. This is going to be something that they're going to have to handle and close down without just giving up the catch each time, because teams will just take this to death. So now you've got Desir, you've got KJ, you've got McCray rotating a bunch of bodies here. Cottrell in at linebacker. This is a really good play right here by your backside corner. Because what they're hoping to get is this guy moving this way, all of the flow going this way, and they're trying to get this working back here so that this gets up the sideline. And this is a disciplined play right here. This is one of your plays of the game right there. Veteran corner within this system does exactly what you want. And you see all that action going that way, and then all of a sudden you have that little throwback screen, and he is disciplined, waiting on seeing something come back his way. It's a good scout. Let's get the false start here. And now you're getting pressure. And this is where it's Desir. So let's look at the coverage first. I mean, if there's no pressure, you like this. I mean, if you got a quarterback, that can be driven right into there. But pressure changes things. And let's take a look at the backside. This right here is a freshman against a senior. And he just runs right by him. And that changes it. That opens that up for the sack. That's the freshman making a play. So now next drive. And now they're starting to play some games up front. So you're getting here a TE, or an ET that is. Getting an ET here. And Lyons does a good job of finding the boot and getting his hand up and forcing a bad throw. And this is one where recognizing, if you're the quarterback, you need to recognize this is a big, and then you accelerate you don't lose your head. Just accelerate away from him, and you get out here, and then potentially you can really make a play. But he panics, and you end up forcing the low throw. So now they're 4-man surface again. They're going bigger personnel as Bama sort of bullied him early. And once they went 4-man lines, Bama was not able to do that. Boy, Jackson really causing a problem here. Not bad here from the backers. And again, this is straight up Jackson being a dude. Let's take a look at the backside view. This guy right here, this is how you make money in a contract year. Watch this. Or this guy here, I'm sorry. This is how you make money in a contract year. So he's set up. They initially start with the double. First of all, he holds that double longer. So watch him just kind of pull on him a little bit to keep him from getting to the backer as quickly, all while pressing on his main assignment. And now he sheds, and now you see the length. That right there, that is an NFL first-round play. That is elite football. Little stunt there in pass rush. And here you see Proctor get worked by your backup defensive end here with Jaden Jones doing some work here. And this is another one that's actually open. He's got 2 receivers open here. This is open to me. You kind of throw this away from here if you layer it. And then this here, if you get just a beat longer, that's going to be open for potentially a big play. And that's really where he wants to go, I think. I think he's trying to throw this up and over here. But it doesn't matter. Because there's just nowhere to put it when you're when you're getting hit in the back. And this is something we haven't seen much of from Florida State in a while, and that's really good edge rush technique. So he's not just long arming him. You could see a little better long arm, but what he does is he wins with his hands here, and his hands and his feet are synced. And then that spin to find the football as he gets past you never want to be outside, or you never want to be deeper than the quarterback. So he's working his way back, and he does that, finds his way to it, and it's a huge play. Because you have an open receiver. So now 2 a 3-3 look against the long yardage, and they find their way off the field. And again, as they get into these looks, they're willing to give up a few yards in the run. But what they're trying to do is to force the back away from getting straight up field, force him to move a little horizontally, and then you're working from the secondary. You're just trying to get a bunch of people to the football with guys running to the ball. This is Iowa State type stuff, where you're just using faster players in pursuit to rally to it. And again, you see the same thing. Look at how many guys are getting to the ball here. So this is a true stack. You're stacking him. You're mugging him. He's somewhat stacked. And where the ball's going, he's now got a better leverage against. So essentially, by running this stack, you force this double team, so he's going to have an angle there. You're going to be able to play this. If he's going to take this, and the back's going to come in, you've got a nice angle. So if the back scrapes, he's actually got an advantageous angle to get there first before your tackle gets there. This is one of the benefits of playing this kind of front. It's just really hard on the offensive line to actually get to the guys who are going to get there quicker, all while you're getting helmets to the football. And this is really good from Rawls. getting in there and helping with the tackle against the block from the outside receiver. So nice effort there from the young corner. Four-man surface here. And this is where I see a lot of room left for improvement, is you're playing pretty soft here. And this is a money down. You've got third and short, or fourth and short. I can't remember. I think this is third and short. Let's see. What was this? So you got second and 5. Okay, second and 5 here. And they're trying to communicate on what they're going to do with an in-out, all of this. When you have trips over here, you're going to have to communicate on who's doing what depending on who goes where. And so they're taking in-out. He's going to take anything that goes outside. He's going to take anything that goes inside. But the trick here is he's going to follow this. He's going to come here and come inside and close that down. That's a really tough cover. But part of it is right now, you would love to have him be the one that kind of makes that impossible. But you got to choose what you're willing to give up. And if they're going to execute this, then okay. But here again, this is what Ryan Williams doesn't really want much of. He took a beating here. And he didn't really want any of this. It's not a physical player. And again, this is communication here. The tricky part here is you're releasing a B-gap. A B-gap little flat route. And this should be the backer that takes this. But you've got kind of a rub here, and the backer, he's walling. The backer actually doesn't see. He should have his eyes here. This is on him because he's got to kind of let him work his way to the other part of the of that. But yeah, that's on the backer. I can't believe he fell. Wow. Very fortunate. But yeah, that's the backer can't get turned around there. He's got to kind of wall him and then work his way to the flat there. And now the monsoon is starting to help a little bit. This was very well timed for Florida State's momentum. A lot of things went right for FSU in this game, in all honesty. And this is a very poor throw. Mechanically, this is a mess from the quarterback. You can see that foot coming through. There's no torque from the lower body, foot coming through to the front. And then that comes up short, and that's not a good throw. And this is a draw all the way. Now, the thing is, this is really nicely played. And I have to think White may have expected this because they spill this and they're working to the outside. There's nowhere to go. One of the reasons that you love this kind of ET stunt when they're empty is it makes it really hard for the quarterback to get upfield. You're forcing the quarterback to go wide, and that lets you rally your whole defense to it. And that's a huge play by a freshman here. Staying on his feet and then ouch. It's the second half here, and that was a stop. That is a hold. Boy, I am just so unimpressed by Ty Simpson here. First of all, this is not an obvious throw. Like, you have the safety when he's throwing this, He's over the top. This is not open. The place you should be looking here is probably right here. But he's wanting to take this shot, and it's just not there. This is very good coverage across the board. Better than anything they had in the first half. And if the corner gets on his horse when that's immediately thrown, he might be able to get to that. Oh, that's little, okay. Middle safety. I'm not sure he's got the wheels to quite get there, but there's just nothing there. And now we're into the grub portion of the playbook. This is what he does. Play action, vertical releases, some stack stuff. And here you have a nice little sail concept. It's one of my favorite passing concepts. Sail and dagger are both really tough to defend. But you're pulling both of these guys with it, and then the underneath coverage is just off board. Again, this is where, when I look forward to Miami, this is the concerning thing. Because Beck will hit this throw with regularity. If you give him this time to throw, and then you're going to give the receivers this much space, then Beck's going to hit this over and over again. So you're going to have to figure out how to communicate and make sure you match this kind of route to not allow that much space, or you're going to give up like 400 passing yards to a guy like Beck, who's going to have that kind of offensive line. And here, they're in that four-man rush, plenty of time. And see, this is again where Grubb is being Ryan Grubb. Grubb just loves to play action, just to throw a ton, and this is well covered on this one, where they don't handle things as well as if there's two receivers on one side and it's requiring one guy to come off and the other to stay with. That right now is a gap in the secondary where they've got to get better. So now they're moving some guys around. They got Williams on the inside. They got Lyons on the outside. They got a backer here at that jack. And this was very close to a pick six. So they're figuring some of this stuff out in their communication. So when he goes out, he knows he can drive on it. He's taking anything vertical, and he has flat. So vertical here, over the top. He's taking anything inside. He's taking anything outside. This was a very poor decision by the quarterback. You got to hold on to this ball because he's staying in the flat. You got to wait for this to potentially come open. This is where this ball should go, right here. And that's a tough throw. You're going to have to layer it. But you cannot make this throw because the corner's shoulders are forward. And wow, that was so close. And again, that's Rawls. That's quality corner play there from Rawls. That's, woo! Boy, that's close. And beating Proctor inside. And this is where the other big place for improvement right now. When you get this pressure, you need to get this guy on the ground. You're right there. Don't just gather your feet and then fall. You got to get to him, run through him, and don't let him make that throw. That he needs to be on the ground at about the 44-yard line. And they came really close quite a bit. Now, this is where I think Beck is not as good an athlete as Ty Simpson. And if they're able to get some of these situations, I think they might get him on the ground. But he gets the ball out more quickly. There's not really much to see here. By the time he's pressured, maybe here, but that's a dangerous throw. You're going to have to kind of put that on his front hip. And, yeah, there's not much else. So it's good defense right there. But Williams just has to accelerate through and get to that foot. He just missed him. And then this is that fourth down. And this is well designed. It's just one-on-one, getting your faster back against a backer that you think can't run with him, and you're probably right. And you're trying to force him to come over all this and get screened off against man. And this is really good by Cryer, recognizing that this is your screener and getting over the top of that, getting there, and then managing to get to and close that down. Now, with a good throw, if Simpson throws this well and puts this on the front shoulder up here, instead of putting it on his back shoulder, this gets upfield. Cryer makes the tackle at about the probably 27 or 26. But by turning him around, Cryer's able to get there. And again, this is with a competent quarterback. Bama's in this game right now. Bama might be leading right now with a competent quarterback at this point in the game. So not quite a tight front here, but... And this is where you can't let yourself get knocked to the ground by the guard hitting your hip here. But this is really good from 20 here. And very good from your edge here. I think that's Jenkins. Let's go to the backside view. Yeah. Oh, that's 90. All right. So that's Desir. And that's against Proctor. My goodness. So this is the other Desir. And he changes this play by essentially stalemating Proctor right into the back. And then you get Kirkland who gets there late. Oh my goodness. Those two freshmen, pretty good. So again, another little high-low here. They ran a lot of this. And very good drive on the ball here from the corner, from the safety. Who is this? Is this Barker? And this ball's late. That ball needs to be out now. And instead it's out now. So that's, from the receiver's perspective, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 steps late, which allows the corner to break on it. If that ball's out here, then it's getting there here, and that's a completion. And again, there is space to be made. There are plays to be made against this defense, but they are forcing you to be on time and precise to get there. I don't know what, and that is a definite hold from the center. Second time he's done that. That's why they called it that time. There are plays to be made against the secondary, but they're going to force you to be precise and to make those throws into those windows. And again, here's another one. This one is on time. This is just pass scale, and this is a dagger concept. This is maybe my favorite two-man pass concept. So you have the clear out and then the dig here on the inside of it, and he's going to take him with him. And there's a bunch of space right here. Now, ideally, you take this away with this guy. He needs to be just a little bit more. He needs to recognize what the concept is. And I know they spot drop rather than matching so much, but recognizing where he is, he needs to get a little more depth. If you get a little more depth from this inside backer on this, then this becomes a very dangerous throw. He can actually get in there. But he's about, let's see. He is, I would say, about 3 yards shallower than what I'd like. I'd like him right on this 30. And then he can work to that and potentially get a hand on it. But just close enough. And then you get one of the most dangerous players on their offense with a good play. What were they in? So this is let's see. So you got deep. I think they're actually in 4 here. It's like a true 4 where he's coming up underneath and he's going to work down. Yeah, this is 4. But this is one of the things about this particular type of 5 DB defense is this is not what you would normally expect to see as the shell for a cover 4, but this turns into a cover 4 to this look. Those are your deep 4, and then your underneath is here, 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 and here. So 4 deep, 4 under while you're rushing 3. It's a harder one to read for a quarterback, but the problem is, again, of your 4 under, one is just a little on the, just a little too shallow. What I like seeing here is there's no loafing. You see right here, he's probably not going to make the play. He's not going to catch him, but he doesn't slow down. Same thing here and here. Watch those guys. They're still running to the football. Are they 100%? Not quite, but they're in position if something happens and cuts back. And up here, these guys are all full speed. So that's a big difference from last year. So you got your screen here. And this was one where basically this is a footstep situation. He sees, I've run this middle screen before as a wide receiver. You feel this. These guys, like, you can handle this. These guys, you want nothing to do with coming back into the middle of the field. And he's got his eyes right here. I guarantee it. And he got hit pretty good from the back there. But yeah, you don't want to see those guys coming back upfield. And look, watch his eyes right there. His eyes are on him. See? He forgot to bring the ball with him. And this is another good example of this defense presenting one look for the blockers. So now they're trying to do exactly what they did earlier in the game, where they're going to double here, they're going to get to here, and they're going to use those angles. But now he's going to disappear. So as he's looking for him, he's going to disappear this way, and he's actually the guy that he should be blocking. Actually, he is. So he's going here, and he's actually 2 gaps over. So as he's trying to come here, he's shooting this gap. He's bringing him with him. And then he's going to make the tackle as the guy coming 2 gaps over. All this without actually opening up another gap. That is really hard on an offense. And this is why this defense is so hard to run the football on in the long haul. But this is really good quickness from the nose tackle. And he essentially brings these guys with him. And combined with this, that's going to force that. And then he's coming over the top. And that's really good defense. That's really hard to run against. And this is another example of, they're spot dropping. You need a little more awareness of where your threats are. He stays on the hash here. I'd like him maybe a yard over because he knows that this was a vertical. and he's got a little help here. If he can kind of get turned a little bit and work his way to it, just be on that a little better. That's a good throw into space. But this is where, if you want to talk about what they're giving up to be as good in other areas as they are, what they're giving up to get that, this is it. It's all of this space. That's a lot of space for a deep curl. And if you've got a quarterback who can throw this and get it out on time, there is going to be space. And this is my concern. Again, going into the Florida game, going into the Florida game, to a lesser extent, Clemson, they're all better quarterbacks than this. And if they do get this time to throw, they're going to do exactly that. There are going to be, if they don't improve on the back end there are going to be some windows where there are going to be plays to be made. Desir here, my goodness. Look at this. Look, this center is a preseason All-American. Preseason first team All-SEC, I believe. And Desir, near leg, near shoulder, second step gets his leverage, and look at the power through the arm. Boom. And then he wins and peaks and finds the spot. Guys, this is a baller right here. That's going to make things a whole lot easier on the whole defense. And then the other thing you love to see is this right here. Here's your +1. Watch the aggression coming downhill. Oof. Helmet right into the kidneys. He's going to feel that tomorrow. And this is just a miss. Now, no pressure here. Again, with a better quarterback, and we saw this. This is very similar to the throw that Beck made against Notre Dame. The window is there. You can drive this right into the hash and put it on him, but he misses it. This ball has to be located. If the ball's located right here, this is a touchdown. But instead, the ball is back here. So the receiver has to prevent this from being an interception. But the concerning thing for me is I look at this and the space is absolutely there for this to be a touchdown. A good quarterback makes this throw, and now it's 17-14. And a good quarterback would have already had a touchdown or two from here. But you look at where this ball should have been, right here. This is where this ball should have been thrown, and it's thrown back here. It's just a poor throw. So down in distance here. 2nd and 8. And this is just Lions here winning on the edge against that right tackle who just isn't powerful enough. And he gets in there very, very close to forcing a fumble here. And again, this is where he didn't have Chip help, and he just got driven back. He had a little help from the guard. But once he gets on that tackle, but that's how close that was to a fumble. If he gets that hand there now, ooh. And this is pressure all the way. And this is single coverage, off coverage. And the reason this becomes an interference is because of that. He slips. So a little double move on the sluggo. And because of the slip, he's not in position to handle it. And then you get the collision and you're going to get the call. And by now, Williams is hearing all the footsteps. They're bringing pressure here. They bring, 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So red zone, one of the things you will see White do is bring more pressure to get that ball out because there's no deep threat. It's not bad driving on the football there. It's just a bad throw. And also, Williams, actually, it's a good throw. Williams right in front of him. Williams just misses it. And here you have a cat blitz. And over the top from the safety. Good play by the safety. They're wanting to force that exact throw. And the safety just gets there and knocks it out. That's good. So once again, this offensive tackle can't block. And here you get Jason Jenkins, who is going to be pretty good for you. He's winning the whole way. It's delay a game, but once again with the little chip block. This could have easily been grounding. Oh, that's right. That was a fumble. But once again, make a tackle, son. He just kind of gets into a rush, and he's on the backside. But you got an offensive lineman here, man. Get your shoulder through him. Cryer, that's not your best effort either. And finally, Little, of all people, comes up, and 100 pounds heavier than him, puts the shoulder in. That's really not the guy I want to see have to make that tackle. He's going to feel that this week. But again, the aggression you have to respect. So you get the stop on the drive. And here you get just a bust from the left tackle, from your supposed first round left tackle. And you get your backup jack here, Stephon Thompson. And what I love here, watch the hands. So he sets him up to go outside, and then right there he beats him with his hands. It's good the whole way. And again, they're behind the sticks now. So now you're going to get him out on the edge. And what does White do? Against this surface, with the extra 2 out here, he's going to try to get that pressure from here. As soon as he steps inside, he's going. Because he has 2 here already. So just go. Get on the outside. You've got all your support to this direction. And this changes the play. So good aggression. And again, this is one of those where, because of the way that they do this, you don't necessarily expect this to be the outside player. They're blocking this for this to be the contain. They're not blocking this for this to be the contain. And that's what White does, is he's just going to protect. He's going to change the look of who's going to be responsible for what and force you to have some issues there. And this is where, the pursuit effort is good, but he should be going through that backside leg right here. And when he steps back, he shouldn't be missing him. It's pretty athletic from Lions. Now, the deceleration, he's kind of expecting that his buddy is going to get the tackle back here. But again, getting back into it, he never quits. This team is playing much higher effort than they were before. Look at the number of hats around the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And by the end of the play, all 11 are in the screen. And that's something a lot of defensive coaches love to see, is they want to see how many hats are in the frame when the in the last frame of the film. So here you got a little post go. And it's a poorly thrown ball. This is one of those rescue interferences. But just got to make sure you're playing more within your frame there as a corner. Going wide, which is exactly what this defense wants you to have to do. And look at the pursuit from every angle here. What I like to see is that's a good angle. That's a good angle. He's going to handle the contain. That's a good angle. You have somebody back here. Let's see how quickly he pops up. He doesn't pop up quickly enough, but forcing guys to the sideline the way that you want. The angles are good. And the effort is very good. And once again, what are they doing here? They're taking their backers and taking the edge guy, and now the backer is becoming that edge guy, and they're starting to bring him more frequently just to cause that problem. And this is one of the ways that you actually fix the problem of the cushion here that they're giving up. You start to get guys with their hands up, and that can solve that problem. Trying to look at what our coverage is here. And again, the fact that it's taking me a second tells you something. So you got to press on the short side. This looks like it might be 3. That would mean you probably have a 5-man rush, right? Yep. So this is a fire zone. You're getting a fire zone with the pressure from the safety here. So he's going to be your hard corner here with deep, deep, and then that's a one-on-one deep. That's pretty good recovery by your corner. It's just a very poor throw. In this situation with a one-on-one here with a good receiver, quarterback puts this ball in here, and you probably get an interference, if not a completion. But this is just an abysmal throw. I mean, Simpson really hurt them with his inability to make throws, make key throws. And this is another one where, I mean, guys, this is 4th down, right? This is 4th and 7. They're getting desperate. They're down 24-10. Nice little twist here. Trying to get pressure from the outside there. Very good pickup by Bama here from the left side. That's first rate. And then the quarterback takes off running. And the thing is, this is a first down if he just runs. And it's actually good discipline to stay here, because if the quarterback is able to make this throw, it's probably a touchdown. So you have to kind of let him get to it, and you're kind of having to let these guys do their thing until he's past the line of scrimmage. But then this is inexplicable. What is he thinking? And just flat out short arms it. But if he just runs to the sticks, he should be getting down to about the 15. And then this game's 24-17 maybe, instead of 24-10 and giving up the ball. I mean, this is I do think Bama, if they find a quarterback this year, becomes a very different team. And you will hear people say late in the year, well, Florida State didn't beat the same Bama team, and to some degree they'll be right because Simpson is just not. He is not, unless there's massive improvement from this game. He is not. He's not it. Nice solid play from Jerry there. Okay, this is why Shaheem Brown isn't playing. That's weak. It's a weak tackle. Knocks his own guy off of it actually, but they're able to recover. And once again, how many guys are in frame at the end? So FSU again kind of letting the backer be responsible for here to kind of come over the top. And Cryer's just a touch late. And by being late there, he loses his leverage. So he's got to read this. He's got to get here with how they're reading this. Triggered there. He gets there with the scrape, but he's just a hair late. And if he's able to get there square, he probably wins that in the hole. But instead, now he's going for a ride. And I think Bama doing a really good job here up front. Your +1 here should be coming down into the A gap because they're coming with this here. So there's actually space there. The +1 actually I think is a primary run gap defender here. He's got to be there just a little earlier. So how are they doing this? Yeah, so he's here. One of these guys is wrong. Because you should have 1, 1, 2, or 1. Actually looks like 1, 2, then 1. And one of these guys should be over here. And so he's not actually a primary A gap, but he's your secondary. So he gets up there. Again, this is why this defense doesn't give up a ton of rushing yards, is even though they're out gapped, they got aggressive and somebody was out of their gap, you have the eraser from the rover position whose job it is to make sure that that's a 5 or 6 yard gain instead of a 30-yard gain. And that you just don't get very many big plays in the running game against this kind of scheme. Finally, a nice throw here. And Lions just can't get out there. That's fine, but that's a good throw. And this is just a drive route or over route. Nice throw. You're gonna give that once in a while. Got to make the tackle. Main thing here. He's in position. It's a one-on-one. You just got to win. And it's just got to be a little more aggressive tackle through that. You kind of want to force him to the sideline with your angle and then drive through that inside hip. This is a lot of the cat and mouse stuff that they play. You don't want to ever be square with him here because that's going to be hard to make the tackle. You want to force an angle. So you want to kind of come in here, force him that way, and then drive through him. But just slightly off. Nice drive by Bama. Defensively, nothing really you're going to be all that upset about. You've got to just make a couple plays. Scheme-wise, it was fine. And at this point, the game is just about forcing them to run clock all the way down the field because you got a 2-touchdown lead late in the game. So this is another example of this is an awful lot of space, guys. And I mean, I know right now they're just playing, do not let them have anything over the top, but you got to be able to drive on some of this a little bit better. They're just slightly off. And that's just not a good throw, and it's not a good catch. Now, this is fine. Barker, wow. Some teams will try to take advantage of him in the one-on-ones, but when you get him up doing that sort of thing, that's a good player right there. Key penalty here. And this is just another consequence of you're not really matching this. Because if you're matching this, you might get a little bit more here to undercut that, but it's good play. I mean, finding the hole in the zone. A bit of a tentative throw, but puts it into the right spot. Pressure there, and that's got to be a sack. End of the day, you gotta finish with your hands and your arms, and that's got to be a sack. You can't let him get out and do that stuff. And then another poor throw on the run. He just struggles, and they had him running a lot. And this is this is a footstep situation. He feels the footsteps. The problem here, again, there's a lot of space here. You cannot allow, that is a lot of space. You cannot allow that much space. And with Ryan Williams here, you can't allow that much space for plays to be made. Again, if this is Miami of Florida, or if this is Florida, this is Clemson, this becomes a big play. This is Bama most of the time. This is a big play, but not the best throw and a very poor catch or lack thereof. And that is definitely not targeting. Not because he didn't mean to, but because he missed. And bro, this is the third sack in like 3 drives that Williams has had a chance to make, and you just got to finish. The problem though is that he just keeps going down to the ground and trying to go for the ankles. He's got to get hold up top and get those hands a little stronger maybe. But that should have been a sack. And this is one of those things where James Williams just has to finish. Do not get your feet behind you here. Get up there and finish. And now you get Rawls, who will finish this. Once again, Williams falling. Don't get over eager and lunge. Step on his toes before you start to fall, at least if you're going to fall. This is not being an athlete there. You got to finish. And then finally, Rawls comes up and, against a 215-pound quarterback, puts everything he's got into it to keep him short of the line. And that's ball game. All right, well, I'll be back shortly with the offensive side of the football. This has been Unconquered with Doc Staples Film Session.